Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the most powerful company in your industry has practically disappeared. Not because people stopped loving its products, not because it ran out of money, but because it made one decision that changed the future of technology forever. This is the story of a company that once controlled more than 40% of the global mobile phone market, a company so dominant that competitors believed beating it was impossible. Its ringtone echoed through cities around the world, its phone survived drops that shattered concrete, and millions trusted its name without question. Then, almost overnight, everything changed. This is not just the story of a phone company. It is the story of how success can quietly become the biggest obstacle to survival. There was a time when owning a Nokia wasn't simply about having a phone. It was about confidence. You knew the battery would last for days. You knew it would work when you needed it. You knew that if it slipped from your hand, it would probably survive the fall. People joked that the floor should be worried, not the phone. For an entire generation, Nokia represented reliability. Parents bought Nokia phones for their children. Businesses trusted them. Students carried them everywhere. And for millions of people, Nokia was their first connection to the digital world. But history has a habit of rewarding innovators before punishing those who stop innovating. Technology never waits. Every industry has its giants. Some adapt. Others disappear. Nokia once ruled mobile phones, yet today its story is remembered less for its success than for its fall. To understand that fall, we have to travel back to 1865, when Nokia was not a technology company at all. It began as a paper mill beside the Nokianverta River in Finland. Over the decades, it expanded into rubber products, cables, and industrial manufacturing before making a bold decision that would redefine its future. It abandoned many of its traditional businesses and focused on telecommunications, betting that one day everyone would carry a mobile phone. That gamble paid off spectacularly. During the 1990s and early 2000s, Nokia became the undisputed king of mobile phones. Models like the Nokia 3210 and the legendary 3310 became global icons. Teenagers played Snake for hours, families exchanged their first text messages, and Nokia built a reputation for durability, simplicity, and reliability unlike anything the market had seen. Every year sales grew, market share increased, and executives became more confident. That confidence slowly transformed into complacency. While Nokia celebrated its dominance, the world around it was beginning to change. Consumers no longer wanted phones that only made calls and sent messages. They wanted internet access, music, photos, maps, email, and eventually an entire digital life inside a single device. Nokia actually saw this future. Its engineers experimented with touchscreens and advanced mobile concepts years before they became mainstream. The problem was never a lack of ideas. The problem was turning those ideas into products. Inside Nokia, innovation slowed beneath layers of management, endless meetings, and a culture where bad news rarely reached senior executives. Employees feared speaking honestly. Projects slipped behind schedule. Software became increasingly difficult to improve, and decisions that once took weeks began taking months. Then came January 2007. On a stage in California, Steve Jobs introduced a device that many dismissed as just another expensive gadget. Instead, it changed history. The first iPhone was not simply a better phone. It represented an entirely different philosophy. The phone itself was no longer the product. The software, the user experience, and the ecosystem became the true value. Nokia still believed superior hardware would continue winning customers. The market had already moved in another direction. Nokia possessed outstanding engineers, excellent manufacturing, and strong global distribution, but its Symbian operating system had become outdated, difficult to develop, and frustrating for users. Apple focused on making software effortless, while Nokia struggled to modernize a platform designed for an earlier generation. Then Google entered the race with Android, giving manufacturers around the world access to a modern smartphone operating system. Samsung, HTC, LG, Sony, and many others quickly adopted Android, creating an ecosystem that improved at extraordinary speed. Suddenly, Nokia was no longer competing against a handful of rivals. It was competing against an entire industry moving together. Perhaps Nokia's biggest mistake was not technical but psychological. Years of success convinced leadership that customers still valued battery life and hardware above software and digital experiences. Those assumptions had once been correct. They were no longer true. By 2010, the warning signs were impossible to ignore. Sales were declining, market share was shrinking, developers were abandoning the platform, and investors demanded answers. Stephen Elop became Nokia's new CEO and famously described the company as standing on a burning platform. Stay where you are and you burn. Jump into the freezing ocean and you might survive. Faced with this crisis, Nokia made the decision that would define its future. It abandoned Symbian, largely abandoned MeGo, and partnered with Microsoft to build Windows Phone devices. On paper, the strategy made sense. Microsoft had enormous resources, a recognized brand, and software expertise. In reality, timing mattered more than logic. By then, Apple had already built a thriving app store. Android had become the dominant platform for manufacturers. Developers had invested years into competing ecosystems, and consumers had formed new habits. Nokia's Lumia smartphones were beautifully designed, featured impressive cameras, and received praise from reviewers, but they arrived in an ecosystem lacking the apps people expected. Consumers do not simply buy hardware. They buy experiences. Without enough users, developers ignored Windows Phone. Without developers, consumers stayed away. The cycle reinforced itself until recovery became almost impossible. In 2013, Microsoft acquired Nokia's mobile phone business, marking the end of an era. For thousands of employees, it meant lost jobs, closed factories, and the disappearance of one of Finland's greatest national success stories. Ironically, Microsoft's own mobile ambitions also failed, and Windows Phone eventually disappeared from the market. Looking back, it is tempting to blame a single decision, but Nokia's collapse was not caused by one mistake alone. It resulted from years of slow decision-making, internal politics, fear of failure, delayed innovation, overconfidence, and an inability to adapt as quickly as the market demanded. Every decision seemed reasonable in isolation. Together, they proved devastating. Businesses rarely collapse overnight. They weaken gradually until the damage becomes impossible to hide. Today, almost every smartphone carries a reminder of Nokia's story. No company, no matter how dominant, owns the future. Markets change. Customers change. Technology changes. The companies that survive are those willing to reinvent themselves before they are forced to. Nokia taught the world how to build exceptional phones, but Apple demonstrated that the future belonged to software, ecosystems, and user experience. The lessons remain timeless. Success creates confidence, but too much success creates complacency. Leaders must encourage uncomfortable truths instead of hiding bad news. Technology alone is never enough if the experience fails. Speed often defeats size, and if a company refuses to disrupt itself, someone else